What are we gonna go do?
Play.
Play? Where are we gonna play?
The pool.
You know what has happened. The very fabric of our existence has been shaken. It is like a bad dream that just keeps getting worse every time you check your phone or turn on your TV. Some experts are saying in no other time in history have we ever had to live our lives like this, in isolation and without other people around us. We are being asked to change our behavior like never before in history, at least in the history of this country. As we all sit in our houses, praying, waiting for just a little bit of good news, I know we all already miss the way life used to be, and that is what inspired me to make this film. This is the moment in history, that moment, that will be talked about for generations. Future generations will look at this moment in time and what we did and how we handled it. I don't know about you, but I am going to work and help in whatever way I can. At the moment, that is making this film. What many say is that we can't sustain this kind of economic shutdown for more than a few months without the cost of the shutdown being much more costly than how costly the virus currently is. The evidence suggests that in times of a bad economy, the mortality rate would be higher than what is being caused by the coronavirus due to several factors like depression, suicide, and just general unrest. On Friday, March 20th, Dr. David Katz wrote an article in the New York Times titled, "Is Our Fight Against the Coronavirus Worse Than the Disease?" What Dr. David Katz is suggesting is changing the way in which we fight this battle against the virus. Meaning, in war, there's the kind of battle that goes on that you really can't win or see a clear end to. And then there is the kind of war like World War II, where there is a clear goal and purpose that is strategical and can be won. We are currently fighting the battle against COVID-19 with an unprecedented cost to our way of life and economy. We are fighting this battle against COVID-19 kind of like Vietnam and many of the wars we have fought since World War II. He suggests a tactical way of fighting COVID-19. It would still be a big sacrifice to many. However, we would get our kids back in school, reopen our restaurants, and put a stop to this lockdown on our economy. His ideas are something that are really common sense, and I'm sure many of you have already thought of them. We initially thought the virus's mortality rate was at about 3.5%. However, in the US, we are finding out that it is about 1% or less. Let's pray and hope that we can keep it that way. So what David Katz is proposing is that we focus on that 1% of people that are at risk and have that 1% live the way the rest of us have been living in the last week, avoiding concerts, large events, practicing social distancing. Another reason why we should consider a different approach is because so far, young people just are simply not social distancing or staying home after only a week of being asked to do so. If they are already refusing to do this, how can we expect them to do it over a period of a month or 2 months? Even out of the 1% of population that are at risk with this, some of them might make it, like this 90-year-old woman that just did. He also said that the 99% that most likely would get it and survive COVID-19 will most likely build up an immunity and then be able to be around those that are at risk. At the time of this recording, March 23rd, 2020, the spread of the virus is already too large in some of America's largest cities like New York and Los Angeles. In order to adopt this approach, the large cities of this nation, where the spread is already very large, just need to weather this storm they are currently in. However, there are many cities and towns around the nation where there are still no cases. It may not be too late to change our approach in these places.
What would this mean for the 1% of the people that are at the highest risk? It would be similar to someone that is being asked to evacuate their home for a natural disaster, when they are living in an area that is at most risk of getting hit by a tornado or hurricane. They are asked to evacuate and are responsible for doing so to save their lives. I am not suggesting this article is the be-all or end-all to this war against the virus we are currently in. It simply proposes a tactical way to fight instead of what we are currently doing. Maybe this fight will be over sooner than we think, and we won't need to change anything. I pray and hope that is the case. However, maybe our leaders will count the cost and realize the cost on our way of life and economy is too large, and find that we may need to adopt a new way of fighting. This fight is a more tactical approach instead of what we are currently doing. During the time I was working on this video, it seems as if the leaders of our nation may have turned a corner on how they are thinking about COVID-19.
We cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself. We're not going to let the cure be worse than the problem.
Will they change the way in which they fight the virus? Only time will tell. I hope they will make the right decision and our nation can recover from the many casualties this fight has already caused to our nation.